All right. So good early evening to everyone, to MLAC's followers on Facebook. Hello to Facebook land. This is Chris Carandang of MLAC. And today we have a sort of impromptu. So biglaan siya na, well, biglaan in-announce, pero dati pa namin pinaplano. For those of you who saw the post on the MLAC page, Dr. Honey Carandang, we invited her today to talk about the elections and the effect on mental health. And so today, aside from that, we're also going to talk about the obvious, as can be seen in our logo, in our shirts, and wherever my mom goes. Why she chose the candidate that she chose. But for now, I'd like to introduce first our special guest, Dr. Honey Carandang. You may open the video.
Okay.
There you go. So welcome, Mom. So Dr. Honey Carandang, as all of you followers know, is a national social scientist and well-loved clinical psychologist. There's a lot more details and a lot more to say about her, but I will stop with that and end with the fact that she's my mom and she has been my idol for a long time.
Thank you, Chris.
So welcome, Mom.
Thank you.
This will be just a short mini talk / conversation. So for those of you who are expecting an actual real talk, that will be reserved for next time.
Yes.
We'll see what our topic will be after the elections. Maybe it will change. We'll see. But for now, it's just going to be a short conversation with my mom about the elections and the effect on mental health. And this is a very urgent and relevant topic because the elections are just a few days away. So that's why biglaan din to. But I hope that, for those who are on Facebook, feel free to ask questions, comment. We'd love you to interact with us. I don't know if there'll be time to ask the questions, but we'll read them and we appreciate it. So let's go straight to the point. So the topic is the elections and mental health. So for you, Mom, what do you think is the effect of the elections on mental health? I'm sure you've encountered a lot with your clients, but maybe even more nationwide aspect. What do you think is the effect, psychological especially?
Yes, actually, that's a very important topic, and the emotions are high, and everyone is experiencing intense emotions, anxiety, or every kind of emotion, pero we're not talking about it. So I think this is very important, no? Ilabas natin, pag-usapan natin, what are we experiencing? Because that is the elections, the issues that are coming out, and the actions, kung ano nangyayari, have a very big effect on our mental health. Sa totoo lang. And I think it's important to talk about it because in my last video, we couldn't even give the title na mental health. So parang in a sense, mental health is still not easy to talk about. It's kind of like, it's not naman taboo, but it's very difficult to talk about it. People cannot even mention it in the title. That's why we're mentioning it now, because I think it's really essential during this urgent, critical time in our country to talk about it. Because to give you a perspective, galing lang tayo at hindi pa tayo masyadong tapos sa pandemic, which was really wreaked havoc in that. So we all know the effect of that, anxiety, depression, all kinds of effects that have been talked about for a long time, for the whole time, the 2 years that we've been. Pero hindi pa tayo tapos doon. Meron tayo ngayong pinaka-urgent and really very significant thing that's happening in our country, and yun na nga yung elections, no? So if you're been aware, and I think we cannot be not aware because it's really so essential for us to deal with it, to really know that we have to do something. We cannot be indifferent anymore ngayon. So we really have to, that's the why we're talking about it. Now, if we look at the perspective, maybe there are two aspects to it, yung effect sa mental health. No? The high emotions, the intensity, the urgency, tsaka yung mga talagang feelings ng mga tao, I think are just too much now. So kailangan talagang merong outlet, merong processing, merong masasabihan at merong mag-acknowledge kung ano nararamdaman natin. So on one hand, there is even in the prayer of the CBCP, Catholic Bishops Conference of the Philippines, merong mga prayer na nangyayari sa atin ito. Merong a lot of lying, intimidation, there's a lot of fear, no, at saka a lot of possible violence. So there's so much intense fear and intense anxiety that's happening. And in fact, I'd like to point out, it's a detail, but I think it's important to realize that normal people, when you hear lying, or even when you lie, it affects your body, it affects your mental health. So when you are lied to, and you know very well that the person is lying, there's an effect already on your body, on your mental health, no? Talagang nakaka-erode. And sometimes even your dignity is assaulted by the way the people insult other people. Even if you're not the one insulted, nakita mo yung mga masasamang words, masasakit na hindi totoo na words na sinasabi, talagang pati tayo nanonood lang, we can even be traumatized. But we are also not just nanonood, most of us are already taking sides, and we need to take sides. It is not time to be neutral now. No? We need to really be honest. What do we really want to happen? Sino ba talagang gusto natin i-support at bakit? Those questions are essential now. And we cannot just go along with whoever is leading us or whoever is this group, pero kailangan mag-isip tayo sa sarili natin. Kasi whether we like it or not, itong nangyayaring intimidation, sinasabi nila pagbaluktot ng katotohanan, pagpakaiba, iniiba ang totoo, iniiba ang history, at tapos yung alam mo lang na nagsisinungaling, nangiinsulto, there's such a big effect on your mental health. You may not know it. It may not be perceptible, but really, na-erode ang dignity mo. Tapos parang you start to question yourself. You start to feel drained. You start to feel tired. You become irritable. Hindi natin na-notice siguro yun. Pero madali tayong magalit. Tsaka talagang that effect on our mental health is really very, very strong. And we have to look at it, we have to accept it, and we have to own it. Talagang nangyayari sa atin yun. On the one hand naman, meron ding isang nangyayaring napakaganda. So we cannot lose our balance. While these eroding effects of lying, intimidation, coercion, distortion, masakit talaga yun, at saka na-erode. On one hand, we must also celebrate and be aware and really look at the other side, because there's so much going on that is so positive. There's so much going on na talagang it's even unprecedented in our history. No? So much good going on, so many good things that people are doing with each other together. Parang nakakagulat. Never in my 70, almost 80-year history in life living in the Philippines, going through all the elections, ngayon ko lang naramdaman yung excitement, yung kind of like elation, tsaka yung kind of a consolation na, wow, ganito pala ang mga Pilipino pagka they come together, they care for each other, nagtutulungan, hindi humihingi ng kahit ano, sila mismo nagbibigay, mahihirap, mayaman, tricycle driver, kung sino, lahat ng mga tao dyan naglalakad sa kalye, involved sila at nagbibigay ng kaya nilang ibigay. So wholeheartedly, you see the emotion, you see the excitement, you see the joy actually of people coming together on the one hand, when they come together and help each other. Nung palagay mo, hindi nangyayari dati yun. Palagay mo, nawala ng cellphone, mawalan ka ng cellphone, makahanap ng tao, ibibigay sa'yo. Wala kang gutom ka, papakainin ka. Bibigyan ka ng pagkain. Tapos pag meron kailangan dumaan, ipapadaan. Tapos ibang klase ito, kailangan natin ito celebrate. 420,000 people in one place. masaya sila, hindi sila nag-aaway, hindi sila nagsisigawan, hindi sila nagsikuhan, hindi sila nagtutulakan. Tapos masaya silang kumakanta, masaya silang nagtitinginan kahit hindi sila magkakilala, nagbibigayan. Pagkatapos ng lahat ng ito, malinis na malinis yung kanilang pinaggawaan ng kanilang event. Please think about how that is the Filipino. Kasi hindi natin nakikita yun eh. Ngayon ko lang actually nakita yung ganitong klaseng volunteerism, ganitong klaseng buong pagkatao mo, ibibigay mo. Wala kang makukuha, bibigay mo lang ang kaya mong ibigay at bigay mong kusa galing sa iyong kalooban at hindi walang nagsasabi sa iyo, gusto mong sumali. Nainggit ka pag hindi ka makasali. Ako ganun dahil because of my age, I want to be there. I want to support. And the meaning of that is talagang kitang-kita ng mga tao. Bakit sila ganun? Bakit sila ganun mag-support? Bakit sila ganun makisama? We celebrate that. Imagine, wag natin pabayaan ano lang yun, parang ordinary. It's not an ordinary thing at all. It's totally very extraordinary that this kind of pagsasama, pakikipagkapwa-tao, pagmamahalan ay nangyayari ngayon sa ating bayan. Napakaganda nun. Kailangan nating pansinin, bigyan ng tamang atensyon, at wag mawala. Wag mawala kahit ano mangyari. Nangyari na yun. Nagawa na natin. Nagsama na tayo ng maganda, nagbigayan at lahat-lahat. Nangyari na yun. Hindi na yun mawawala. Tuloy natin, pero gusto kong damahin natin. I mean, let's feel it, let's celebrate it, let's not let it just pass as an ordinary thing. That's what I really want to say, kasi walang masyadong nag-emphasize nito, pero it's also for our own mental health that we need to see it, own it, and to celebrate it.
So,
yun ang sabihin.
Yeah, so it's good to recognize that. And I think you clearly summarized, well, you illustrated the two sides of the effect of the election. There's that toxicity and the
Yes.
lying, the fake news. But on the other hand, it's also good to recognize there's this spirit na parang people are inspired, people volunteer, people help each other, and they're really motivated to help each other.
Yes.
So do you think that in a way is already a way of coping with all the toxicity and the lies that
Yes.
Yeah.
Good question. Kasi siyempre nga, mga lies kuminsan na down tayo, how do we cope, no? One of the most important or most effective ways of coping is to come together. But just not come together, but come together and be kind to each other. Magmahalan, no? To help each other, to care for each other, to show kindness, to show care for isang tao, ganon. Yun yung nakakatuwa, na nakakakilabot actually sa akin, na kakaiyak sa tuwa na pwede palang mangyari yun sa ating mga tao sa Pilipinas. Isipin nyo yun, nangyayari na yun sa atin. Ganon tayong klaseng tao. Pero paano tayo nagiging ganong klaseng tao? Meron din tayo.
Parang to keep in mind the goodness. Ano ba yung nagpapalabas sa kagandahan ng loob natin? Ano ba yung mga tipong leader yung nag-inspire na lumabas itong mga to?
Yun. Alam na natin to, pero kailangan pa rin sabihin. Ang leader na magpapalabas ng kabutihan ng loob ng tao, ng kusa na gumawa para magbigay ng kanilang kaluluwa, ng kanilang katawan, ng kanilang isip, ay isang leader na unang-una ay tapat, honest, totoong tao. Kailangan totoong tao siya. In English, authentic. Kasi ang mga tao, alam nila kung fake. Kahit anong sabihin mong magandang salita, kung wala sa gawa, tsaka hindi nakikita sa pagkatao mo, alam ng tao yun. And people are so hungry, gutom na gutom, uhaw na uhaw ang Pilipino, makakita ng isang tao na tapat, magaling, mahusay, tapos mapagkumbaba, hindi mayabang, nakikiisa, kasama natin kahit man nasa nakaupo ka sa bangketa, kasama mo, umiiyak ka, kasama mo, tumatawa ka, kasama mo, nakaka ano talaga, taba ng puso, sabi nga nila, no, may ganun palang klaseng tao. Yun ang leader. Kailangan lang pala natin ng leader na ganun para ilabas yung kabutihan na nasa core ng pagkatao natin Pilipino. Biruin mo yun, nandun yun all the time. Pero hindi siya talagang nailabas ng ganitong talagang kitang-kita mong obvious na buo sa kalooban ng tao, sila nagbibigay, sila nagpupusang gumawa ng ano. Tapos natutuwa pa sila, hindi lang sila gumagawa, masaya sila, ang spirit nila, ang energy nila, ang lakas. Wow, sabi ko, this is a phenomenon we must not neglect to highlight. Sa buong mundo, dapat ipakita natin ito. Pwede pala tayong maging ganon. Kala nilang Pilipino, resilient lang. Hindi, resilient, pero hindi resilience pinag-uusapan dito. Spirit, initiative, creativity, kindness, dedication, pagbibigay ng buong loob. Yun ang pinag-uusapan dito kasi yun ang nangyayari. Pero ang kinailangan pala lang natin, isang leader na ganon. So, kaya natutuwa ako na meron tayong leader na siyempre alam na niyo kung sinong suporta ko. And I'm very proud of it. And I've searched my soul, and as a social scientist, as a national social scientist, I looked at it objectively, scientifically, and also with my mind and with my heart as a scientist, as a person with empathy and compassion. Pinagsama ko na yon. Hindi talaga pwedeng hindi itong isupport ng taong to, si Leni Robredo. Of course, kung sino lang pinili niya, no? Si Kiko, because yun ang pinili niya na bagay sa kanya. Kung ano na pinili niya, ibigay natin sa kanya. So, nagulat talaga ako, hindi ko akalaing magkakaganito. Magkakaroon ng isang leader na ganito ang pag-inspire sa mga tao. Kaya gusto ko talagang sabihin yun kasi baka mamaya we take it for granted, ginagawa natin ito, pero hindi, iba to. This is an extraordinary phenomenon. It's a movement ng mga tao na galing sa kalooban nila. So yun pala kailangan natin. Napalabas lahat yun, hanggang lumalabas pa rin, lumalaban pa rin, gumagawa pa rin kahit gaano kapagod, kahit gaano kahirap, 2 a.m. na umuwi ko minsan, tapos maglalakad pag walang sasakyan, pag umuulan, magpapayong. Ganon ang klaseng tao na Pilipino, pinakita natin sa ating sarili. No? Sa ating sarili, celebrate that in ourselves. Pinakita natin sa mundo. Wow, this is phenomenal. This is extraordinary. This is historical and unprecedented in our history. So, yun gusto kong sabihin. Sana makita natin, no?
So, wag natin kakawalan. Let's not let go of this opportunity. No? So I think sa mga fellow Kampinks naman, it's so obvious. She's a very inspiring leader, and just watching the rally, whether live or on TV, nararamdaman mo talaga. No? Kakaiba talaga. I was wondering though, kasi going back to our discussion about the effect, yung anxiety, and a lot of people are experiencing it. No? So a lot of people are feeling anxious about the coming elections, particularly, like you mentioned, the mga issues, yung mga lying, yung fake news, ganun. But there's also that anxiety, for example, paglabas ng survey. So how come it seems like it's obvious to many people that this is the leader that truly inspires, but how come in surveys, the numbers seem to say a different story? And I know that this is nakaka-anxious sa maraming tao to, diba?
Yes.
Kung anong pwede mangyari. So how do you make sense of that? And how can we deal with that anxiety?
Correct. Ay, naku, ang ganda ng tanong mo. Ang hirap. Tagal kong iniisip yan. Ang hirap kasi, oo nga, ang daming tao, alam natin, kung sa tingin natin lahat, siya na dapat ang iboboto. Pero ang lakas ng anxiety natin kasi meron tayong iniisip na baka magkaroon ng manipulation, parang daya. Pero kung related to survey, anxious din tayo kasi ang survey parang palaging pareho na lang. Ang lakas-lakas laki-laki ng gap between the front runner ng si Marcos na frontrunner and Lenny, the two frontrunners, parang ang laki-laki ng gap. Ngayon, ang nagtataka ko as a scientist, I'm not questioning the institutions that do the survey. I think they may have impeccable methodology. They may follow all the scientific rules. I've done a lot of research myself, so I know how that is. You follow the rules, you do the sampling, you do everything, lahat impeccable. And yet there might be other factors that might be influencing outside of the institution that's doing it. No? I don't know if I should say this, pero I have some thoughts na baka there's a lot of intimidation going on kasi, no? So, for example, if the survey is somewhere in Cavite, it's possible that the people there, may pumuntang tao doon, for example, and then influence the people. Or I have heard, but this has to be checked, of course, fact check. But I have heard na pwedeng pasignan ka kung sinong iboboto mo. So pag nagsisurvey, papasign ka. What I'm saying is those details may not be true, but for sure, there's so much intimidation going on. So I am afraid that the surveys might be affected by this, even if the methodology is very sound, might be affected by this fear that people have to say exactly who they're voting for if it's not the powers that be. May ganun ako nadidinig sa mga tao. Paano? Kaya nga, mabayaran ka. Siyempre, nakakatakot kung hindi mo iboto yung taong nagbayad sa'yo, di ba? Ganon. So, maraming mga ganon na possible, not in the methodology, but outside that may influence the results. Because number one, imposible sa lay person, any normal human being, it's impossible that the percentage are exactly the same and have not moved, even if so many rallies and many people have come out, nag-support, lawyers for Lenny, doctors for Lenny, ang dami-dami nag-support before nung dati hindi. Ngayon, bakit ganun pa rin yung result? Always static. It's very difficult for any human intelligent person to understand bakit hindi gumagalaw yung numbers. No, hindi ko kine-question yung you are experts in your field, pero nakakapagtaka lang talaga. Bakit ang dami-daming nag-defect, ang dami-daming nagsusupport na hindi dati nag-support, ang dami-daming nagra-rally. Of course, hindi naman sinasabi lahat ng boboto, pero common sense tells us that this has to be reflected in the numbers, no? So parang nakakapagtaka lang at nakaka-nervyos lang. So parang for me, hindi ko na masyadong binibigyan ng ganung weight, ang surveys. No? Remember the last time, yung vice president, mababa, I forget the percentage, pero in the last week, mababa ang score ni Lenny, tapos nanalo siya. So, for me, mag-isip lang tayo na hindi totally maniwala or totally to be influenced by the survey. Parang defeatist na, taas na naman, ang taas-taas na hindi bumababa, ito mababa, bakit pa tayo boboto dun? I think we should get out of that mentality of defeatist mentality that is disempowering. Nakita mo yung survey, dun mo base ang boto mo? Hindi, base mo ang boto mo sa nakikita mo, sa papaniniwala mo, sa nakikita mong tama, at saka kung ano talaga ang gusto mo, yun ang mas importante. So to cope with that, go inside yourself and really know kung sino talagang gusto mong iboto, sa buong katotohanan sa loob mo, iboto mo. Kung sinabi ng survey ganon, iboto mo pa rin yung gusto mong iboto, na nakita mong karapat dapat mong iboto. Stick to it, be empowered, have your own sense of self na ito talagang iboboto ko. Hindi ako magpapadala kung sa ano-anong fake news survey, disinformation, hindi na. Kasi alam na natin na ngayon na maraming ganon, pero kaya nating panindigan kung ano yung ating choice. Panindigan na lang natin. Yun ang pinaka-importante sa lahat. Nakikita naman natin kung gaano kadami ang kasama natin, kung gaano kadami ang pusong loob nagbibigay ng kanilang buong puso at kaluluwa, ano man mabibigay nila. So, let's celebrate that. And let's always go back to the deepest part of ourselves, the truest part, and just follow that. Kahit ano man nangyayari sa mundo, ano man nangyayari sa pagkakapaligiran mo, sundan mo yung kaibuturan mo kung ano yung talagang katotoo sa iyo, and you will not be a disempowered person. Meron kang sariling self-personal power. Gamitin mo yun.
So just to summarize, no, yun nga, yung surveys can be a cause of anxiety. And for you, the way to cope with it really is to go back. Yung balikan yung paniniwala, balikan kung bakit mo binoboto yung isang tao. So in a way, I can't help also but compare it to Lenny herself, diba? I mean, there are a lot of lies, a lot of fake news, but the way that she handles it, in a way, parang pinapakita rin niya sa atin na, okay, ganito yung paraan. Focus lang tayo. Tutok tayo dun sa trabaho. Ano pang sabihin ng ibang tao, tutok lang tayo sa trabaho. So in a way, parang yun ang pwede natin gawin sa sarili rin natin in our everyday life. How, you know, when we get anxious when we read the social news or yung sa social media.
Galing, ang galing. Thank you for saying that, Chris. Ang galing, tama. Kasi ganun din ang ginagawa niya. Very concrete. Meron, ano nga ba yung incident na ninsulto siya tapos accused of something. Imbes na bigyan niya yung attention and energy niya doon, solid siya. Okay, nagsasabi siya noon, hindi tayo mapapadala, hindi natin dadalhin yung energy na didissipate natin, malalagay doon yung energy natin, ituloy natin ating ginagawa, focus tayo sa ating goal, magkasama tayo ulit, magkasama tayong gagawin, ay tutuparin yung ating goal. Hindi tayo magpapadala, hindi tayo magagalit, na dahil pag nagalit ka, nakuha ka na ng tao, mahuhook. She doesn't get hooked by emotional na binabato sa kanya kasi mahirap yun. Mahirap yun pag may binato sa yung insulto. Gusto mong sumagot. Gusto mong sabihin ang katotohanan, gusto mong sabihin mali ka, hindi ka dapat pakinggan, or ikaw ganito ka. Kung sinasabi mo ganito ako, normal. Pero it takes more than that in a person, more than the normal way of dealing, no? It takes a little bit more. It takes more solid sense of self na paniniwala mo ay tama at susundin mo siya. So yung sinabi mo, ang ganda kasi ganun si Lenny. Hindi siya nagpapadala, hindi siya nagpapahook emotionally. Tutuksuhin ka, syempre sasagot ka, hindi siya. Kaya niyang hindi mahook, hindi sumagot, hindi magalit, hindi madala. Hindi siya nadadala. Alam niya ang kung saan siya pupunta, hindi siya liliko kahit gusto siyang hilahin. Ang galing. Believe ako doon talaga sa ganun na tao.
Mahirap talagang gawin, pero ang linaw niya about it. No? At saka yung, siguro kaya paulit-ulit rin yung sinasabi yung mas radical yung pagmamahal. Kasi mas mahirap nga naman talaga yung hindi mag-react, hindi magalit, pagalitan, or minsan i-put down yung mga iba yung paniniwala sa inyo. No? Pero yung ipakita mo na nakikinig ka kahit magkaiba o kaya may respeto, siguro yun mismo kahit makita yun, that's enough to make a person believe that this person is at least a good person. No? Pwedeng hindi mo pa rin iboto pero alam mong okay, mabuting tao to kasi nakikinggan ako. Tsaka talagang imbibe niya yung mas radical ang pagmamahal.
Oo, tsaka sinabi mo yung respeto. Kasi nawawala yung respeto sa ganitong klaseng mga kampanya puro insulto, mga sasamang salita. Parang ang respeto sa tao, dignidad ng tao. She still keeps her dignity, keeps her poise, keeps her true self. Hindi mahirap gawin yun, pero dahil ginagawa niya yun, kaya din natin. Parang ang dali niyang tularan. Parang nagagawa na rin natin kahit hindi palagi natin alam na nagagawa natin. Parang nakikita ko nagagawa na rin natin Kaya na rin natin. Yun na nga lang kasi meron tayong, we respect someone. We need a leader who we, first of all, respect, look up to, and trust. Pag meron tayo noon, ang dami nating kayang gawin pala. Para tayong mga super women and super men, kaya pala natin yung kala natin hindi natin kaya dahil lang doon, ano? Ang ganda, ibang klase talaga.
So yung nabanggit mo, ma'am, yung respect and trust, napakahalaga sa isang leader. No? Ngayon, 6:30 na, pero mayroon pa akong tanong na gustong, siguro, one of the last few questions. No?
Okay.
Personal question that's I'm really curious about. Kasi in every election, parang meron palaging may nagsasabi na kahit sino naman ang elect natin, ganito pa rin ang pamumuhay natin. Parang, I don't know if you still hear that rampantly, ganun yung belief na. Pero I can imagine that affects how people vote as well. Yung parang kahit sino naman ilagay mo, pareho lang naman yung mangyayari. So actually, alam ko anong tanong ko dun eh. Pero yung curiosity ko is, since we're psychologists, diba, we're dealing with people who experience things in their life that make them depressed, diba, make them sad and hopeless about things, and that's sad, diba, kapag umabot sa ganung point. So in my mind, iniisip ko, may mga taong ganun ba na parang may similarity ba yun sa depression, na parang I can't see any hope na kahit sino naman ilagay? Would you say it's may similarity yun? And
Definitely.
how do you help a person
Yes.
who feels that way? Or should you even help the parent? How do you help?
Wow, ang ganda ng tanong mo.
Kunyari ikaw yun. How do you help that person? How do you help me? Kunyari ganun yung pag-iisip ko.
Oo, pero tama ka, ang dami ko nadidinig na ganon. Intelihenteng tao, mga pinsan natin, mga pinsan ko, mga professional, or else mga hindi professional, all levels of society, no? Pareho din naman kung sino yung boto natin, wala nang pagbabago. I think siguro pwede rin natin, aywan ko, no, mahirap talaga kasi talagang nakita nila na-experience nila Akala ko okay to. Sa umpisa, yung pala, mas disappointing pa. Paano ko aasa na talagang may mangyayaring pagbabago? Napakahirap, no? Ako, hindi ko talaga alam ang eksaktong sagot dyan, pero ang sasabihin ko lang, tignan muna natin yung pagkatao. Okay, ano ba yung qualities niya? Yung sinasabi ba niya, ginagawa niya? Nagawa na niya ba yung sinasabi niya o sinasabi lang niya? Kasi you look in the past, usually hindi pa nagagawa, pinapangako pa lang. Yun ang common, yun ang usual, no? Tingnan natin. Sa totoo lang, kung examine mo yung mga in history, usually sinasabi lang, hindi pa nagagawa. Ito, nagawa na, ngayon lang sinasabi. Ang dami nang nagawa, ngayon lang sinasabi. So sa sarili ko, parang iba to Kasi ang dami nagpapangako, pero ito, hindi, nagawa na bago pa ipangako, nagawa na. Bago pa magsalita, nagawa na. So baka naiiba naman ito. Hindi lang salita muna na sinasabing gagawin ko ito, kundi ginawa na. Kahit konti lang ang resources, ginawa. Naghanap ng paraan, naghanap ng solusyon, naghanap ng ibang klaseng paraan para magawa yun kahit limited ang kanyang resources. Nagawa na niya. So, hindi siya lang nagpapangako. So, yun palagay ko, yun ang pagkaiba. Itong taong to, nagawa na.
So, well, mahirap talagang umasa kung madalas nadi-disappoint o frustrate ka. Pero I guess it goes back to knowing the facts, Ren, which is something that, well, kakampings are trying to really share to people, diba? Let's fact check. Let's know the facts. Let's know our history. Let's go back to the facts, no? And I guess it's not an easy thing to do, but that is a crucial part of making people know and have a more discerning way of voting.
Yes. Oo. Yun ang masasabi ko kasi sa observation ko, yun ang pagkaiba. Yan.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am. I-check ko lang kung meron tayong comments or questions.
Sige.
hindi ko nakikita dito, so pasensya. Hindi ko kasi kabisado. Pero, kung may mga follow-up questions, I think, this is a good venue. And maybe we'll have something like this again. As of the moment, we have 24 viewers. Thank you to the 24 viewers.
Salamat kahit kayo in-announce.
Pero I know that this is recorded and we can post this in our YouTube channel as well and sa Facebook para pwedeng balik-balikan ng mga tao. I think marami rin ng busy. May mga mini rallies or mga house-to-house rin. So baka it would be nice for them to watch this pag libre sila.
Tsaka nagtanong din yung mga ibang tao kung recorded kasi wala sila sa bahay, marami silang ginagawa daw kung pwede daw i-record. Yun ang tinanong nila. So that's your at least nasagot mo.
Yes. Okay. So we will upload this.
Okay.
So maraming salamat, ma'am. Is there anything else you want to add before we end? Kasi by next week baka iba na yung hinaharap natin, hindi natin alam, no? So is there anything that you want to add before then? Or any last thing you want to say?
Wala naman except let's focus on the now. Yung mga natin ngayon kasi hindi natin alam ang mangyayari after the election. What will be the result? Will the result be really reflective of what is truth or not? Hindi natin alam. That's our anxiety, no? So pwede tayo maging mindful meaning present moment. Lahat ng kaya natin gawin natin. Tapos i-relish natin yung moment na yun na nandito tayo, gumagawa tayo, magkakasama tayo. Doon na muna tayo. Huwag na natin munang to jump to a conclusion which we do not know. And let's accept that we can only do what we can do now, then which will have an effect, but we don't know what will happen after. Not knowing is normal. We own it. It creates a little bit of anxiety, pero kung gagawin natin lahat ng kaya natin gawin ng buong puso and know that what we have done, we did what we can do, kung anong kaya natin, nagawa natin, wala naman tayong regrets. So no regrets. Okay.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I think that's great advice, hindi lang sa election, but anything that's uncertain, the pandemic, whatever people are facing personally, whatever is beyond your control, there's still something you can do. Yung mindfulness na nabanggit mo, focusing on the now and focusing on what you can do.
Yes, and siguro dagdag ko na lang ito in my old age, sabi ko, at magdasal pa rin tayo. Know that not everything is within our human control, and there is a wiser, higher being that's going to accompany us in this. So, thank you. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone who's watching.
Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Salamat.